Hi everyone and welcome back to the Focal Plane podcast. Now I've got a returning guest today, Vern Dercksen from ActionCOACH. Welcome back.
That's good to be back.
Yeah, good man. Good to see you. And today we're going to talk about a really exciting event that you've got coming up. When I've been to two of these before, they're your growth clubs.
That's right.
And they've been absolutely, for me, just transformational because it's given me so much clarity over just direction of my business, but just how I can overcome some issues, but make them into small, identifiable chunks that I just wasn't able to do myself before. But tell us a little bit about GrowthCLUB. For people who don't know, what does it look like? What is the day made of?
GrowthCLUB really is an incredible day, Sam. It's a day that business owners get to be outside of the daily grind of their businesses, where they step out from working in their business to focusing on their business and what they need to do in the next 90 days to really move the needle towards the outcomes that they want to see in their business. The day itself, it's quite a productive day. It's not a teaching day as such, where you come and you just fill to the brim with information.
Yeah.
There's obviously educational elements to it, but the day starts out with a nice cup of coffee and maybe some refreshments and pastries and some getting to know people in the room. And then we move into an opening time where we really set up the day with mindset. It's really important that we engage with the best possible platform to get the most effective outcomes from the day. We do have an education slot then where we talk about business, what's going on in the world, and maybe just what adjustments can be made in business as a whole in response to what's going on in the world or individual businesses. And then there's an incredible lunch that takes place. You have to have food in it. And it's been a great hit so far.
Brilliant. Yes.
As you say, you've experienced it.
Yeah, for sure. I can attest to that. Yeah.
I've had great reviews from the lunches. Then the afternoon session is really when we get down to business. Immediately following the lunch, we normally have a review time.
Yeah.
Where we look at the previous 90 days and what was great, what worked well, identify some things that we need to keep on doing. But we also look at some things that maybe we should review, tweak, maybe some things that we need to cut, get rid of that didn't really deliver what we expected it to deliver. And then we go into the biggest chunk of the day, that is looking at the next 90 days.
Yeah.
I love this time, Sam, because really this is where the owners get to look at themselves, look at their businesses. What are they going to do to achieve the goals and the outcomes and the results that they want for the next 90 days? And it's interesting because you know about rhythms.
Yeah.
There's an interesting cadence that takes place in any business, and that is a cadence that determines your focus. You will find that people are able to build an incredible focus for the first 4 to 6 weeks following a strategic planning day. And then they wake up and they go like, oh, flip, there's more to be done.
Also, like, stuff gets in the way, right? Like life happens.
Yeah? So, unexpected things in the environment.
Yeah.
And then what happens is there's a tapering off that takes place. And then there's like just complete distraction that sometimes take place. Sometimes it seeps in. And after 90 days, people go like, well, what was I hoping to achieve anyway? And that's why we have these quarterly plannings, these growth clubs every 90 days, because that natural rhythm that takes place, we need to halt the decay, halt the breakdown of focus, so that we make sure that did we achieve what we wanted to achieve, and then what are we going to do to build on the momentum from the previous 90 days? It's an incredible process and system, really, that should be installed in every business.
So tell me a bit more about this then, right? So the big outcome that a business will walk away with is that 90-day plan,
100%.
Right? So, and we were hinting and intimating before about the fact that, well, look, there needs to be processes in place to make sure that you can actually achieve that.
Yeah.
That you can mitigate the cadence that starts to just unravel itself a little bit after 4 to 6 weeks or however long it may be. But how is that actually achieved? So from my perspective, one of the really important things about all of this is the grounding, is the actual recognition and celebrating stuff that you've done well, right?
Yes.
And understanding that, okay, you know, what was the intention behind that? How intentional was it? You know, did you just get lucky, or was there actually something that really enabled you to do that? And really to hone in and use that as a linchpin was so important for me. Yeah. But tell us about that process. So how do we then mitigate those lapses, the ways that things can fall apart? You said earlier that you kind of, some people can get to that end of that 90 days and think, well, wait, what was I even trying to do?
Yeah.
So how do we get around that?
Yes. So what is key from the day is that you walk away with a 90-day plan on one page.
Yeah.
You know, people often start with, what do I need to do to achieve my goals? But we like to flip it on its head. And so what we identify at the start of the process is, what are the milestones? What are the goals I want to achieve? And then we break that down into 3 or 4 key milestones.
Yes.
That gets further broken down into weekly goals that I want to achieve.
Yes.
And so visibility is an important thing. You know, if you ever dreamt something up and written it down and put it in your top drawer next to your bed, it gets forgotten. You know, how many books have you put next to the side of your bed that's gathering dust?
So many. So many.
But by having the plan, the strategy on a single page that you put up on your wall in your office, that you continuously look at and say, what is it that I want to achieve in week 1 of the next 90 days? What is it that I want to achieve week 2? You can literally just lift up your head, refer to the planner and say, am I on track? Am I not on track? And so what we do is we build out that weekly goals that you want to achieve, that builds into the 3 milestones. You know, when you think of if you want to climb Mount Everest, you've got base camps. So we identify the milestones as base camps along the way to achieving your goals. Yeah. And it's just making sure that we put into place the different weekly goals that will achieve those milestones. And it becomes then a sense check for you throughout the 90 days. What I often do is I do a monthly check-in where I pick up the phone. I mean, you've been on the other side of those calls. Like, hey, Sam, how are we doing?
It's gathering dust, Vern. It's gathering dust.
No. But then we have that check where we say, like, you know, have you been accountable to yourself?
Yes.
Or to me, or to, you know, somebody else that's in your organization, that makes sure that you achieve the goals that you've set out. Because that's really what makes coaching work, Sam.
Yeah, of course.
Is that we provide structure, the 90-day plan, with a weekly cadence, and then the accountability that goes along with it. Those are the 2 main things that make coaching work.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's also a great entry point for people, because not everybody is ready for one-to-one coaching.
Yeah.
So they come to the Growth Club, they develop this plan, and then they have that monthly check-in to make sure that they still achieve the different outcomes that they wanted to achieve. And it's also a bit of a reality check. Because, you know, nothing of significance is built with good intentions.
Yeah.
Action has to go alongside intentions. So on that day, we build the intentions, we build the roadmap. But then what do we do following the 90-day planning during Growth Club? What do we follow that up with to make sure that you achieve that? Because that's the other thing that's great about having Growth Club is it's regular. It's consistent. It happens every quarter.
Yes.
You can then look back and say, well, what did I build last quarter? Did that build on my previous quarter? And then you can see the wins that you spoke about. It's like, okay, so I used to get X amount of leads or prospects in 6 months ago or 9 months ago. Here are the different things that I've implemented to grow that. Yeah. What has my conversion rate been? You know, talking about the 6 ways to profitability. What has my average sale been? What has been my average transaction rate been? What has my margin percentage been? So we want to make sure that we track these things. Yeah. And that's what makes Growth Club so ideal for this. it's a natural thing that we put in place for business owners where they then can go as part of their pre-work for the Growth Club. It's like you put in your numbers for the last quarter. How did I do with these different 6 levers that I get to pull that we then work with in the review section of Growth Day?
Yeah, and there's something. I mean, there's so many things you said there that I really want to just dive into a little bit, right? So, you mentioned about the thing that people walk away with is that 90-day plan. You talked about having an overarching theme for that. You talked about having the goals, the KPIs. You talked about breaking those down to milestones. There's one other thing that you do with it as well, right? Which is actually incorporate into that a number of disciplines.
Yeah.
Which comes down to actually part of the accountability that a client might get through coaching. Actually creating those and building those disciplines into it is such a high value thing, because actually all the rest of it you said, I mean, I could just sit down and do that myself. Like, honestly, I could, right? If I wanted to, if I had the nous to do it, I could say, right, here are my goals, here's what I'm going to do, here's a weekly thing.
Yeah.
But what the
and
Growth
AI
Club
makes it so easy nowadays, doesn't it?
Hey, it does, right? But what the Growth Club really added like value for me was to incorporate into this wonderful chart, but actually in the corner, and an important corner, was what are the 3 disciplines that I need to be doing. Because it comes back to, in your first appearance on this podcast, where you mentioned this big slogan that you live and die by, the whole, be times do equals have.
Yeah, love it.
That's a huge part of it. Who do I need to be? What do I need to do in order to get what I need to have? There's a real focus on that B that comes into that growth plan, that 90-day plan, which wouldn't happen organically. You can't do that just by sitting down and asking AI to sort it out for you.
Because as we know, AI goes like, "You're right, Sam."
Yes.
Yeah, that is a better opinion.
But let me just offer a counterpoint. Well, you're right about that too. Thanks, man. Thank you, ChatGPT. Anyway, yeah. So, but there's so much that goes into it around. I can remember my reflections from last Growth Club, where you broke it down into things like, what does time mastery look like? What does money mastery look like? Now I look at it and think, oh, these are so clear, so obvious. But having it focused in a setting where you've got other business owners around you who are also trying to figure similar things out. Some people have done the things you're trying to figure out. Some people are in the same place you're at, have something else to offer. And having that camaraderie amongst you in that room, but also then it is so valuable, but also having the guided principles that can push you towards achieving some amazing things. Wonderful. I mean, from the first Growth Club that I attended, one of my main things to come out of that was, look, my marketing, how do I get my voice right? How do I do this? And through basically that stage plan, now, I'm way more confident with that. I have a voice that I put into it. I understand my USP, right? All of that. Exactly. Now I'm way more confident about, displaying my USP, whereas before I kind of knew what it was. In my mind, I knew what it was, but it was harder to articulate or hard to get the consistency out. And I could only really do that or get to that place by having a structured way of just understanding, right, this week, what do I need to do?
Yeah. Which is what we build.
Next week, what do I need to do? Great. Yeah.
Because if you think of it, Sam, how many people do you talk to that said, I just didn't have time this week to do this?
Yeah. Hey, I'm guilty of that every week for all sorts of things, right? It happens.
So looking at the be, do, have principle, what a perfect opportunity to be the business owner.
Yeah.
During Growth Club, where you focused on who you need to become, what do you need to do to have the results that you want. What a perfect opportunity to be the owner, doing the things that owners should be doing to have the outcomes you want. And so many people that I speak to, and I love the discovery process when I speak to potential clients, because the penny hasn't dropped yet, is they're expecting to have business owner outcomes.
Yes.
But they're not being a business owner, doing business owner type things. And that's what Growth Club offers, is a day, one day. It starts at 9:30, finishes at 4:30. So that's 7 hours out of 90 days that you take to be an owner, doing owner type things, to have owner type outcomes. And that's why I love that principle, because it really just reduces it to what's important. And we unpack different frameworks like that. And that's another reason why I love GrowthCLUB. You know, it's £157 for the full day, and you get access to all the ActionCOACH frameworks.
Yeah.
You get access to coaching. You get access to that in-person interaction, Sam, to challenge your thoughts.
Yeah.
To ask the important questions like, okay, so why did you say you wanted to accomplish that? Why not try this? Why not approach it a little bit differently? And then also have the room around you, if you're vulnerable enough, to help build up that idea.
Yes.
I've been blown away at the response in the room when somebody is willing to put themselves out there, and how people are just coming around each other, giving that perspective and support.
Yeah, because otherwise we're so alone, man. Like, we're so alone in the journey, because you don't until you're in a space like that, you just don't recognize that actually there's loads of people who are trying to fight the same fight somewhere else, and that is,
it's liberating almost.
It is liberating, and I think it has that kind of sense of actually just not everything has to be on your shoulders the whole time. Because if we're here, we're building up a community around it with people around us who are fighting, as I say, similar fights elsewhere, coming together, sharing our ideas, but also having the guided principles by which to implement that. I mean, that's exponentially more powerful than trying to wade through that yourself, you know?
And I think that is applicable whether you're a solopreneur, whether you've got a small team, whether you're a big business, or whether you're an enterprise. You know, I've got some clients that bring multiple team members to GrowthCLUB. It's a great way to get your team on board, especially if you've got senior management. Because not only will you then develop your plan for your business, but they then develop their plan for their department that fits in with that. So the reality of people carrying things by themselves is multi-layered. Because what I've seen is that business owners, department heads, they also so often feel isolated.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
because they feel they carry this responsibility, and they don't want to seem that they can't do the job. They don't want to talk to people that are below them. They've got a bit of peer pressure that they don't want to seem that they don't fulfill the requirements for their role to their peers. There's different reasons why people feel isolated, and creating an environment where they can come in and just know that this day is really created for them to benefit off and develop their plan and their strategies effectively. It just removes all of that noise, which really is all it's about. It's a lot of noise that we carry around in our heads that stops us from being the kind of person we need to be to deliver the results that we want.
Yeah. And just to expand on that slightly, I mean, one of the things I was really picking up on from what you're saying is, you know, the fact that this can permeate throughout different layers of a business. And you're talking about people maybe feeling a little bit, protective, or perhaps, not wanting to appear vulnerable or to appear as if they may need help or assistance. But isn't a side benefit of all of this that actually people then at all levels who started to implement these sorts of changes take actually that much more ownership?
Yeah.
And like suddenly they've got more skin in the game to make this work. And that's a huge unifying factor, right? If you've all got the same skin in the game.
And it's also it's got compound effect. Because now they are part of the process.
Yeah.
There are different benefits to this. Look, if I as a business owner bring a key team member with me, I'm including them in my process. I am I'm entrusting a part of the responsibility, accountability to them.
Yeah.
And that is also satisfying for the individual because they feel included. It speeds up the process because now they understand the bigger picture as well as have the opportunity to focus on their area, their department. And what I found is that the conversation that I have with a business owner changes. Because it's now no longer, okay, how am I going to convince this person that it's the right thing to do? They were in the room where the conversation happens. They're part of the conversation. Often we want people to adopt responsibility, adopt ownership, but we don't provide a platform or a place for them where they can take it. It's kind of like, here's the idea, here's the thought, now you should take ownership. No. We need to take them along on the journey, and that's what GrowthCLUB offers.
Yeah, fantastic. And have you had any feedback, or have you had any clients that you're working with, for example, who've come along to growth clubs or along that journey? Have you had any feedback around how that's benefited them, or real examples of what they've managed to implement and how transformative that's been?
Yes, I do have a client where it is him and then the person that he relies on to really help implement a lot of the things in the business and also keep people accountable, where both of them have come to GrowthCLUB.
Awesome, yeah.
And the benefit of that has been that the business owner has been now released to really focus on the things that helps grow the business, not get stuck into now having to explain to this person why it's important that they follow up, why it's important that they speak to the relevant people.
Yeah, because they both got their fingers on the pulse now, right?
Both have got their finger on the pulse. They both understand and are on board with the outcomes, and they have both developed strategies and plans that deliver the outcomes.
Awesome.
So what's happened is now their weekly conversations has gone to a whole new level.
Of course it has. Yeah, of course.
And that is the beauty of it. That's what I love hearing. So now the impact, if I bring it down to my conversations with him that happens on a twice monthly basis, is we're not now trying to figure out ways to bring that person on board to make her more effective. The conversation has escalated. The outcomes have escalated. And so the benefit across the organization has doubled. In fact, they are now doing individual growth plans for their team members as well.
Excellent. Yeah.
Because they see the benefit of it.
That's massive. And that's from just going to that one day and learning those tools to take away.
It's a cascade effect.
Massive.
It's a cascade. I used to work for a Costa franchise operator as an area manager.
Yeah.
The trouble we had to communicate the intent and the heart of the next, seasonal releases. Oh my gosh, it's like if I can just bring them into the room. And so that's what we started doing. We created our own mini environments where we brought people into the room. And that's just one of the benefits of GrowthCLUB. Yeah.
Awesome. And what have been your own personal reflections then, Vern? So you've done, however many growth clubs you've done, you've been along your own journey as being ActionCOACH.
Yeah.
What have been your reflections that have come out of GrowthCLUB for you personally?
For me personally, I do my own GrowthCLUB with our main coach, James Vincent. He's the coach's coach. For my business, it's transformed it because rather than building my business in a reactive kind of way, I'm building it proactively. There's a calm that's come to it. Coming into a franchise environment versus being an independent coach was quite daunting. But being able to take time aside and focus on, okay, this quarter, this is what's important. This will really build my business. I don't have to worry about that yet because I'm not there yet. Or I don't have to really focus on building out the next product, the next campaign yet, because this is what's important right now. And these are the steps that's going to help me achieve it. What it's done, it's helped me also bring a calm into my business strategy. And when I get, different things happening from different directions, I can just go back to the plan, reset, and continue with it. And what it's done for me in my coaching of my clients is it's also helped me lead them better. You know, we all have been in the place where we've got somebody trying to teach us something that they've not really accomplished in their own business,
Yes,
or achieved in their own business.
Yeah.
The one thing that I love about being an action coach is we practice what we preach. We implement what we teach our clients, and that gives a confidence to me and to my clients that, hey, this is something that works. It's not just a hypothetical. It's not just something that's generated in ChatGPT and hopefully it will work.
I mean, there's something exceptionally powerful about going on the same journey, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, how do you feel then when you have your clients coming back to you saying, look, you know, this has completely changed the game in my business. That example you were giving earlier, it's changed the conversations we have entirely. Like what goes off what little buzz goes off of when you hear that?
I love it. I was in a conversation with a client that just started with me a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Implementing similar, although he came after the last Growth Club, we implemented similar strategies.
Sure.
He did 3 times his annual turnover in a week.
Wow. That's insane.
3 times his annual turnover in a week.
Okay,
exactly.
Yeah.
Why? Because there were some parts that we implemented that for him, he thought he was doing, but he wasn't quite hitting it. And by just unpacking it and working through it, the impact was real. And for me, I'm a people person. I'm a community person. And my client's success is my success. And so I celebrate that. Sam, one of the things that I was toying whether I want to bring it to this conversation or not is I was challenged to set a goal for GrowthCLUB.
Okay.
You know, it's one of those moments. It's called a big, hairy, audacious goal, a BHAG. Big, hairy, audacious goal. And so I was...
Is that patented?
It's floating around out there. But what's my BHAG? What's your big, hairy, audacious goal? And because what I want to be spoken about me one day when I finish coaching is really important to me. I said, okay, well, let's say in 2040, what do I want the impact of GrowthCLUB to be? And so my BHAG for 2040 is I would love to see 10,000 jobs created through GrowthCLUB in our region. I would love to see the economy benefit with a 30 million pound injection into the economy because we've built the kind of businesses where people want to be employed by them.
Yeah.
Businesses that are growing, where their profits are growing to the extent where they say, man, I've got more than enough so that I can too invest in my region, to uplift our region. It's got to be bigger than ourselves. This community that I would love to build and love for the community to contribute to our region, there has to be something tangible that we impact and bring to our community, bring to society. And so for me, that's the big, hairy, audacious goal that I'd like to see.
No, that's great to hear. And that is very big, hairy and audacious, and I'll give you that. But just hearing the way you talk about it and hearing the feeling that comes from it, what really excites me about, and particularly about doing this in a podcast format as well, is that people who hear that and resonate with that, it's wonderful, right? Yeah. It's wonderful to them. And I love it when people talk about actually, you know, one of the things that are driving them is actually making things better for everything around them, right? And this, you know, the machine that you're using to do that is, okay, that's yours, and that's great. But the right sort of people will gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
You know, and for people who it's not for, great. Do you know what? You save some time. You've saved yourself some time. You saved them some time, right?
100%.
Which is, that's fantastic. And I just I have so much admiration for people who have just that vision set out so clearly. And the fact that you impart that into your growth clubs into just that one day. Of course, I know as Action Coach, you do a whole heap of other things, but the fact that people can hear and use and build from those principles from that one day is exceptional. Absolutely exceptional.
Yeah, and for some people that will scare them when they hear that. It's like, oh, that's not for me. Well, we're all different. We all have different purposes, different reasons for why we started our businesses. And another reason why I love what I do is to help people achieve those goals, the reasons why they started the business. It doesn't have to be, earth-shattering, global conquering vision. But what is that vision that you've got that you want to achieve? Yeah. Well, let us help you achieve that.
Yeah, help you achieve it, make it achievable, right?
Exactly.
And do it in a way that has that structure that is something you can A, follow, but B, hold yourself to account with.
Yeah.
And use that as an entire framework to grow and grow and grow. So what do the next 90 days look like? But what do the 90 days after that look like? What do the 90 days after that look like? How can we tweak, learn, grow, and celebrate the successes as well as understand the things that have been challenging for us and adopt those strategies to help mitigate that? And I think there's so, like you say, the effect of it just really permeates. I mean, not just in your business, but around you, for people above you, for people next to you, for people alongside you, all of these sorts of things. And I don't think there's nothing about what you're saying. There's nothing about what I've seen in it that just doesn't apply to us, like wherever we are in our journey.
We're people, right?
Yeah.
We, as coaches, we're in the people business. People run businesses. People grow businesses. And for me, that's one of the draw cards is I get to work with people.
Yeah.
Better people run better businesses.
Yeah.
Thriving people run thriving businesses. If we're surviving as people, can we be surprised if the result we're having is surviving businesses? And so GrowthCLUB just helps flick that switch, turn the table, change the narrative so that we take control of that narrative, take control of the things that helps us become thriving people and thriving businesses.
We can all change mindsets, right? We can all do 100%. That. There's nothing that's so entrenched that you simply will never ever get that switch flipped. It will happen if you're in the right space and have the right tools with which to do it.
100%. If I can do it, anyone can. 100%.
Good.
If I can
That's
do
a great
it, anyone
message.
can. Ask my wife.
And on that note, Vern,
thank you so much. I love it as always. You do a great job here.
Brilliant. No, Vern, it's been fantastic to have you on again and talking about, as I say, an event that I have been to twice before and thoroughly recommend to anybody because there's just insights that you just won't achieve on your own. And it's not just the fact that it's doing it with you, with Action Coach, which is of course a very important part of it, but just the community that you build. And everything just rings true to that BHAG you were talking about before, right? It all fits. You can see those cogs turning to help achieve something like that. And if that's where you're going, just imagine what people can do if they impart some of those tools. That's brilliant.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing just to recognize, Sam, is that one of the questions I get is, what is this leading into?
Yeah.
Where's the catch? Where's the sale? I don't sell. The day's not there developed to get to the end, and then there's this big sales drop and run to the back of the auditorium. The first 10 people who swipe their card gets the discount off. That's not the purpose of GrowthCLUB. GrowthCLUB is there to help you grow. Yeah. It's a standalone product. People don't have to go to one-to-one coaching to come to GrowthCLUB. People can go from GrowthCLUB to GrowthCLUB because not everybody's got the capacity all the time.
Yeah.
Whether it is capacity in their diary or financially to invest yet in their one, but they've got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why this makes it such an incredible entry point for anyone to access the material, access the frameworks, access the coaching, and start changing the narrative to their lives and to their business.
Awesome, man. That's brilliant, Vern. And where can people go to find out more about this?
Go to my website, actioncoach.co.uk/Horsham. Scroll down to the event section. It's right there, Q2 GrowthCLUB. Hope to see you there.
And what is the date for that?
It's the 27th of March. 27th of March.
27th of March, 2026. Excellent. Good stuff. Thank you so much, Vern. It's been a pleasure as always.